In fact, let's do it now. Let's get on with it. So, Prof, I mean, the mission is quite simple. We've just been through an election and we saw how it all went down. If we were to improve our electoral processes, where would we begin?
Very good question, Kojo, to find at the studio. You know, I've been reflecting over this since this election. It seems to me the actual process was quite good. You know, about midday, impression was that the election was going to be smooth, no bias at all. But as far as we got the counting didn't proceed very well. I think
if I may, Prof, if you can hear me, I think we have a bit of an issue with the connection. So we are missing every other word you say. I wonder if you could reposition yourself a little bit. See if we can.
I don't know. Is it better?
It sounds better. Let's see how we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was saying that this election from the beginning appeared to be very smooth and hopefully violence-free until we came to the counting and more particularly the collation centers. So from this experience, it seems to me that the biggest challenge during this process was the collation center activity. As you know, many places exploded. And as we speak, about 13 or so constituency reports are yet to be sent to the Electoral Commission.
Yeah.
And during the process, I remember talking to you or somebody else, and I was suggesting that perhaps for the future, we should be looking at how the coalition centers operate. Should we be secluded as we have it now and ban the public from viewing it, hiding in a room and doing the work? Or is it not possible, for instance, to give it the openness that we have at the polling stations where everything is counted, people around, they see, they hear? So I'm wondering whether we need to revisit how we conduct the collation center work. Besides that, I think it's quite good. Besides certain individuals who maybe were determined ahead of time to cause some problems for the country. Otherwise, I think this election problem is fine. And again, as we say, how true it is when Judge Atubuga told us, I think Aparijan also said the same, that elections are won and lost at the polling stations. And if you see how the NDC organized itself to be present at these polling stations and how they monitored it, I think to a large extent it helped in ensuring the smooth flow at polling stations. So all the other issues, I think, together, we can fairly satisfy that we did a better job.
So, if we are to improve this process, your focus would be on the collation center. So, what would you change?
This point, based strictly on these past elections, the collation is presented the greater. The actual station matters went smoothly. So I will begin by focusing on how we review, restructure the function of the center. You know, with the president election, I don't think it was much.
Prof, I think we might need to reposition again. Forgive me. Yeah. Sorry about that.
I don't know what's happening today.
Yeah, very sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah. This is better, yes.
I hope you hear me better.
We do.
All right. So I was saying that the coalition centers, I think we need to review and maybe restructure how it functions, making it open to all instead of secluding the key officials in a room to do the job. I think it is possible to create a public arena cordoned off by security agents, officers, with the public behind the cordon, and the agents and the election officials proceeding with the work. I think that openness can prevent this attempt, as we saw, where party supporters wanted to break down gates to get in, and many other incidents that we witnessed. So I am saying that let us start the review from the coalition centers and how we can improve on the transparency at the coalition centers.
So allow more people, perhaps large screens so people can observe what's going on, and sort of be more inclusive, bigger spaces, more access with some security controls. That would be your suggestion.
Precisely, and I think I like your addition of screens. Something I've thought about. It makes it easier. You project the counting openly on a big screen where everybody follows, everybody monitors. That will immediately erase the suspicions that characterize the way the coalition centers were conducted in this last election.
Now, one of the things we observed in this last election was the party faithfuls following the ballot boxes. So normally, once the ballots are counted at the polling station, they are supposed by the procedure, they are supposed to be then transported to the district office for storage, and then the pink sheets are sent to the collation center for counting. However, in many cases, the collation center is the district office. So the ballot papers themselves end up being transported to the collation center, and you get party faithfuls following the ballot boxes. We saw a lot of that, and for this reason they started getting suspicious when hours later some EC official will be seen walking in with a ballot box, and then that would create all kinds of confusion, even though strictly speaking at the collation center, by normal procedure, ballot papers are not to be counted unless there is a dispute.
That's right.
So, I mean, should we be thinking about the transportation and movement and storage of the ballot boxes themselves as well?
Because, this time around, suspicions were rife. And I think the opposition party, NDC, were determined to ensure full transparency and to avoid any instance of cheating. And as they said right from the beginning, they mobilized their forces to monitor from A to Z. And they succeeded to a very, very large extent. So, once the suspicion is high, expect this thing to happen. I recall an incident when I observed elections in Zimbabwe about 20 years ago, where the elections had to run for 2 days. And the rule was that the boxes would be stored at the local police stations and be brought back for the next day to continue. You know what happened, Kojo? The party agents, at least where I observed it, they agreed that, in fact, the boxes should not be transferred to the police station and that it should be kept at the polling station. And the party agents slept with the box. And there were pictures where they put the two party agents. It was I've forgotten the name, the CCM and the other one. They put their hands across the ballot box as they slept. You see, it was for me fascinating. And it's all because of the lack of trust in the Electoral Commission then, and even lack of trust in the police for keeping the ballot safe.
Yeah.
So they decided to sleep at the polling station, open area, you see. So I'm saying that once suspicions are very high, expect this kind of vigilance. And once it happens and you don't manage it well, then of course it can blow into your face. So I think, as you suggested, a better way, or a new way, I should say, to be found in how we manage the ballot boxes after the polling session. If the evidence we saw in social media regarding the discovery of certain staff boxes in some bushes and all, if these things were true, then it tells me that still there will be some attempts by any of the parties to steal the election by stuffing boxes and bring them to the counting station. So I think now the focus should be on how we keep the ballot boxes safe from any possibility of tampering, so that when we come to the collation center and we made it as open as we have suggested, projecting the counting on the screen where it's available, I think that will help in really easing this tension that we experience.
Yeah. Now, Prof, I mean, your suggestion is that the collation centers should be more inclusive. More people should be allowed closer to the action.
Sure.
Um, there are some who might be concerned that that would actually create more of what we saw in this last election. People see something they don't like, suddenly mob mentality takes over. Cordons might be pushed down, security services might be overrun, and then before you know it, chaos.
Yeah, you're right. You see, but as I said, it depends on the level of mistrust. Because if it's open and the security personnel have cordoned it, given enough space for the counting to proceed, where party agents are closely together with the Electoral Commission monitoring the counting, all right, being collated. And as they collate, it's projected. And the crowd, the public are behind the cordon that we have formed. That in itself will introduce a certain transparency that I believe will influence the public to stay calm. You see? So I think we should think carefully how we make it transparent, how we make it all inclusive, and then see how we organize the security around it. And I think that will help us keep these mob out of the way.
Prof, talking about transparency, one thing, because, in the from 2020, we saw the introduction of regional coalition centers.
Yeah.
However, in the 2024 election, we saw the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, even when the regional coalition centers didn't have the full complement of some of the constituencies in the region, going ahead to declare. Would you say that at this stage we can go back to the old process of, say, constituency coalition centers straight to the national coalition center instead of having the regional coalition centers?
I think after this election, there'll be reviews by the commission itself and the political parties, their election directors' office and all. There should be a complete review. And through the IPAC, as we have done over the past 30 years, let the parties come in together with the EC and review what took place. And based on that, some of these anomalies that we identified can be addressed together. The danger here is for any electoral commission to make decisions without the full participation of the political parties. That immediately will breed distrust. So I believe strongly that elections are held for people to elect their leaders. It is not held to satisfy any parochial interest. And electoral commissions, administrative bodies, they are not there to tilt it anyway. So the more transparent you look at, the better the public will accept. That is my basic principle, the conduct of elections. Anywhere where the electoral commission is not fully trusted, around Africa, you find this happen. And I don't see anything wrong when ballot act is open up, as we do currently at the polling station. Why don't we transit that to the collation center? The collation center should be equally inclusive and open. The whole idea is to make the process as openly as possible together with the political. One reason I don't see that, of course, it is possible that, like in all cases, you're going to have some criminals who will take advantage of any opportunity to create a problem for them. And I think in this particular instance, it is true, because if you look at the violence that we're witnessing, I don't believe that John Mahama have instructed the followers to do that. I wouldn't believe that Kufuor have instructed the followers of him to do that. But because of what we've been saying over the years and the structure they put in place, it was easy for some people to take advantage, to behave the way they have, invading public offices, destroying state property, and in some cases people getting hurt. They know, you see. So I think we need a lot of public education on this.
Right. Now, Prof, we've talked about the polling stations, we've talked about the collation, regional collation centers. Let's now talk about the national, the headquarters. Fax machines. I mean, in 2024, should fax machines have any role to play in a national election?
Are you telling me the headquarters rely on fax machine for transmission of results?
Yes, they do. 16 fax machines to receive 16 results from 16 regions.
Well, I'm afraid that's outdated. Fax machine, when I was a student years ago, I used to use that. Now, even with WhatsApp and all, you can send messages instantly. So far as you make it secure, these days because of the criminals who break into these communication mechanisms, I think you have to find a way to secure them. So once you secure them, I think even WhatsApp messages can send everything. So if it's fax machine, I'm sure as we go on, the commission will be going to revise this and introduce more efficient systems for transmitting results. By the way, Kojo, the thing is, at the polling station, everybody tabulates the results on the pink sheet.
Right.
And if you do it effectively and efficiently, you have the first evidence confirming what has transpired at the polling station.
Mm-hmm.
So in the course of transmission, how do one then manipulate the numbers if the openness is there throughout the process? You see. So I think the commission has a more effective, more efficient way for transmitting results from the rather than.
Let's talk about technology in general. I mean, you've just hinted that from the polling station, there should be a way of moved without all the fuss. Are there other ways in which we can leverage technology across the value chain of our elections to improve it?
For sure, modern technology can help do many things. But what is interesting for me, though, is that even countries with the best of technologies, they still rely on a ballot paper in the U.S., Britain, and everywhere. They still do that.
Yeah.
So at times I wonder if they are really good in technology, why are they not adapting simple technological measures to achieve the goals of. For instance, I thought it were even possible to use the Ghana card to even cast your back. So I don't know. I'm not a technology specialist, so I can't go into details on it. But if they are not doing it, even in America and elsewhere, they are still casting a ballot in a box. Then it must be something that stops the use of technology. But having said that, I think we can use the technology as an effective monitoring tool as we go through the process. At every point, for instance, at the polling station, after the counting and party agents have signed the pink sheet, it can quickly be transmitted before even it goes to the collation center.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that the political parties, NDC and PP, they knew of the outcome by midnight of the election day.
Yeah.
And most by 1 o'clock, they knew who had won and who had lost.
Yeah.
Because around 3 o'clock in the morning, I got a message from some that said, look, it's all over. So they do have their own technologies to monitor. By the EC, the RAP, that should begin to upgrade its technical tools so that the transmission can be more effective for.
And Prof, this is Mamavi. If you follow the trends, almost looking like we're heavily relying on the political parties themselves to provide security or police the polls. I wonder if that's healthy and if that's not one of the reasons there's a lot of pressure because they want to be there, they want to police it because they don't trust those who are providing security. How can we change this narrative?
You said right, because the trust is not there. These were your words, and I fully agree with that. It's the same that at these national events, you find private security. And I think, towards the election, I'm sure all of us heard threats being held at security agencies, even including the military. Some threatening that, look, will deal with you missing. I'm quoting directly from these kinds of things. So, in fact, I will say that the current problem we have in the post-election could have been facilitated by the way the security agents were treated as elections. So once the elections came and the winner was declared, as you can find in Ghana, allegiance began. Who was going to intervene seriously when the police has already been put on alert for possible dismissal or killing or whatever that's there? You see, so I think if again there's high level of trust in the security agency, then there'll be no need for private security to provide this nationally. And I think that should be one area that government, together with all other stakeholders, should review and make a bold decision on how we make our national security agency work in such an unbiased fashion that all parties will accept that they can trust their discretion. Because as it is now, I don't think it's in the best interest of this country to encourage it where political parties and candidates recruit their own security for the purpose of executing a national project. That, I think, is unwarranted.
Prof, I want to thank you very much for your time with us this morning. We seem to have done a very good 360-degree look at our processes for the election.